Hello, beautiful soul family. Rebecca here, your vibe mentor. Welcome to another Monday Magic Intuitive Energy reading where I give my take on what we have just experienced and call in some guidance for how we should move forward through this coming week. Wow, what an intense week we just had. I knew when the new year started that it was going to be a big year. It was a little slow to start. We had a couple of weeks of deep rest and cleansing in those first few weeks of January. And as suspected, it has picked up in speed and intensity tremendously. This past week has been a roller coaster of a ride. So we have had extreme solar activity. We have also had extreme Schumann resonance activity. Now, we had 17 M-class solar flares from Monday to Wednesday. And if you follow me, you know we are approaching the peak of a high solar maximum cycle. And what that means is a lot of extra intensity for us. There's a lot more for us to deal with and for our bodies to process. So 17 M-class solar flares in 3 days is a lot. When you are in a solar minimum, it's rare to have an M-class solar flare. So of course, we've also had C-class flares. And on top of that, the Schumann resonance spike, which was, I believe, right around Friday, Saturday. And also we had the full moon on Thursday. So basically nonstop activity of some sort all throughout the week. And it was interesting because Thursday with the full moon wasn't too bad, but man, the intensity really hit on Friday. And with that, we saw the peak in the Schumann resonance activity. Now, it is common for that to be associated with, say, seasonal lightning, but it's not always. And this spike was unique. This spike was very different. In fact, some of the highly educated experts were even asking the question, what is going on? This is one of the largest spikes that we've seen in the Schumann resonance to date. And we have seen correlation between high emotional human response and spikes in Schumann resonance activity. But of course, that has not yet been scientifically proven. So we'll just set that on the table for you. So it did sort of seem like it was just one thing after the other this week. And there was a lot of nervous system activation. We also had Uranus turning direct on the 27th. And Uranus can have a very electric kind of energy or impact. And it has a sort of a similar feeling to eclipse season, where it's almost like you've got your finger in the light socket. And that can be exhausting. It can be difficult for the nervous system to just kind of feel like we're on pretty consistently. And so we really want to, as I'm always talking about, we really want to understand how to work with the body, work with the nervous system, utilize grounding, utilize nervous system calming techniques to be able to manage this type of energy. Change is happening at a very rapid pace right now. And it reminds me of sort of the tower card in tarot, that the tower is crumbling, but it's as if we're standing in the middle of the tower and just watching everything crumble all around us. But it also reminds me of standing safely in the eye of the storm, that we can allow ourselves to be thrashed around with the waves of emotion that come with rapid change and uncertainty and surprises and one thing after the other, or we can remain firm and stand safely in the eye of the storm, knowing that we are cared for. If we detach from our emotional response to things that come up, we can stay safely in faith and surrender and remember that life is happening for us and not to us. And when we insist on having that perspective, we can see the benefit, or we can insist on seeing the benefit and wait until it comes, because it's not presenting itself quite as quickly as the change is right now. So we really want to remember, work with the nervous system, recognize, am I feeling activated right now? Do I have sort of that electric feeling? Do I need to stop what I'm doing, no matter what the plan was for the day, and go into meditation, do some breath work, do some yoga, put your feet on the ground. The snow is melting here, so we can see the grass again, and really start practicing your self-regulation skills. Obviously, trauma spotting is going to be extremely important in these times. If you have trauma, you live in hypervigilance, you are prone to anxiety, or even if you're struggling with depression, these are imbalanced nervous system states. And then understanding how to work with the nervous system and how to self-regulate is extremely important in these times. So really look at, am I keenly aware of what an activated nervous system state looks like? Am I keenly aware of my trauma responses? And am I able to self-regulate when I recognize that I've stepped into activation? What are the thoughts that I'm thinking? What do you say when you talk to yourself, right? Do you have thoughts of encouragement and safety and looking for the benefit? Or are you worried and focused on the problem and anxiously going round and round in thought, looking for solution, which, by the way, the mind rarely will be able to solve a problem when the nervous system is in an activated state, right? So really tap into self-care, self-love, self-regulation in these times. Now, going forward, this next week, we have a lot of conjunctions to Pluto. So we have a cluster of planets in Capricorn right now. Pluto just moved into Aquarius this past week, about a week-ish. It was on the 21st, 22nd, right around there, 21st, I believe. And so it's at that first degree of Aquarius. So now as the sun moves into Aquarius, and it will, and Mercury and Mars and Venus are all following, we're just going to get hit with more Pluto activations, one after the other this week. So that may or may not be positive for you. It really depends on your chart and what's going on for you. But just recognize that conjunctions do mean new change or new beginnings. And that is a collective sign, right? Aquarius is the sign of the people. Pluto also being a bigger outer, well, a bigger player, if you will. He's not physically bigger, but he packs a punch, that's for sure. But he tends to, being one of the outer planets, is associated with the collective. So, and then these personal planets, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, and the sun, as they cross over. So there's personal impact as well as collective impact. So just be prepared. These planets do move quickly, so these things should move quickly. But if you're feeling it's almost like a shift in energy pretty consistently, just one right after the other. So know that this too shall pass. As with everything, it's a week of activity, and that's not necessarily terrible. It, of course, because life is always happening for us and not to us, it's helping us shift and change the things that need to move in our life. And it is helping us prepare for the new phase of what's coming. And Lori of Morning Gratitude likes to say that we're not even in a new chapter, we're just writing a whole new book. That this is, it's very distinctively clear to me energetically, the old is dead. The old has fallen away, even though there's remnants of it that are still crumbling around us. It's lifeless, it's dead, it's gone. And we are very much in between worlds, and we're about to step into this new book, this new phase of humanity and our existence as a whole. So busy week this coming week, but also note too, we're 10 weeks out from eclipse season. Usually they say eclipses are felt right around 6 to 8 weeks prior to the actual eclipse. I believe the first eclipse of the two is on April 8th. But we are starting to see the evidence of it now. And this eclipse, this April eclipse especially, is unique and special because about 2 years ago, we had the first eclipse that crossed the US. And so it kind of drew a line across the US. And now this other eclipse, I'm not sure if I'm going the right direction, but I think it might go this way. This April eclipse will create a cross across the United States, and that they meet exactly over Texas. And so we're starting to see some activity in Texas already. So that tells me that this intensity that we felt this past week, the high activity that we have this coming week, I would not be surprised if the intensity is relatively sustained over the next few months. I have been feeling very strongly. I've been hearing March, April, May for almost 2 years now. I thought it was referring to last spring, but I'm really understanding now that it is this spring. The big things are happening this spring. So all of that to say, rest, prepare, take whatever time you can in any moment that is a downtime to regulate, to ground, to nurture, to soothe the body, to learn those self-regulation skills so that you can start to be able to tolerate the high intensity that may be sustained. Right. So of course, we have political season on us as well. That's just adding to the intensity. I have a note here. Don't be surprised if borders are redrawn. And that is something that was delivered from a woman who channels angels, but also something that I'm feeling very strongly the resonance of truth in my body as it relates to that. And just kind of this sense of feeling like the old world is being extracted from the new world. And some will choose to stay in the old and some will choose to cross over into the new. And this is where we have to remember that it's always darkest before the dawn, that we are creating the new world. Those of us who are leaders, those of us who are stepping into our power and authority, those of us who are recognizing how to utilize our magic, how to step into infinite potential, that there is nothing off limits to us as creators, those of us who are helping guide and lead others to be able to discover the same, we are creating the new world. And while it seems like everything else is crumbling around us, seeds grow in the dark. That what we see around us is an echo of the past. The old that is dying, the things that are crumbling in front of us, they're tangible already, they're manifest already and dead already. And so they must crumble. It's like the leaves falling off of the tree. They fall to the ground and they become the fertilizer for the next phase of growth. Allow it to crumble, allow that fertilizer to fall to the ground, allow the bricks of the tower to fall down to the ground, because we can use them to rebuild what is coming in the future, what we are creating now. And so don't be scared, don't worry, trust, have faith, surrender to the process. Remember to let those seeds grow and nurture them with your belief and your faith and your affirmations of good things are coming. Everything is happening for me and not to me. It is time for us as leaders to rise to meet the challenge. We are here. Those of us who felt different, those of us who had to break free from the corporate world or the 9 to 5, or we had to do it our way. We felt such a strong urge and calling in our being that I cannot tolerate anything else but my soul's calling. We are the leaders. We are different because we cannot be one of the sheep. We have to be a leader out front. And so recognize, if you're here, if you're listening to this, you are a leader. You are on the forefront of healing and growth and expansion. You are part of creating the new world. Allow the old to die. Cultivate a proper environment. I don't want to say proper. Cultivate a thriving and nourishing inner environment so that your heart's desire, your soul's calling, your purpose, your leadership can thrive and can grow within you. And as the time approaches, we will be called forward. We will step into the light and we will help others. And if you're already helping others, congratulations. As you know, the hard part is over. Let's help those who are not aware understand how to work with the body, how to work with the nervous system. Remember, I never would have been able to create my business if it weren't for trauma healing and nervous system regulation. That the world is traumatizing today, and that this 9 to 5 grind and this hustle culture and this constant stress and the constant on the go and the constant spending and consuming, it is traumatizing for the body and the nervous system. And no amount of willpower will allow people to push themselves out of their comfort zone if they have trauma living in the body or a nervous system that says it's not safe. Nervous system is the key to manifestation, is the key to creation, is the key to success, expansion, fulfillment, purpose, infinite potential. So let's lead the charge. Love you, my friends. Namaste.